Okay, Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. Ramadan Mubarak. Thank you so much for joining today's session. I'm very excited to introduce this session because it's very important. It has so many applications. I know that you as engineers, you might need to use IoT in one of the projects that you're working on. It might be in the industry later on when you graduate, you might need to do that in your work. You might do that for a research purpose. So I'm happy to introduce what you have with MATLAB and IoT. So today's workshop is going to be based on MATLAB. We have a tool called ThinkSpeak. It's part of MATLAB and it's natively run on MATLAB. So don't panic when you see another software. It's not actually another software. We're going to talk only MATLAB today, but the platform that is used for IoT is a little bit different with the screen, just for a reason that I'm going to mention today. So before I start, I just want to highlight an example where people need to use IoT. So something that is really important, and whenever I talk to researchers these days, they are highlighting this problem. It's the energy consumption and the energy conservation. So people are trying to monitor the energy, monitor some data related to the energy, such as temperature, humidity, and many other factors, so that they can have a better energy consumption, less energy consumption, better isolation, and all that. Now, whenever you talk about IoT, you might have a chance to work with IoT. You might have the chance to work with it before and know its purpose. So companies are trying to use IoT to collect data from somewhere else with the easiest way so that they can analyze this data and they can come up with predictions to the data that they're collecting for the future. So let's say that you have a temperature sensor somewhere in the desert and you're collecting some temperatures from there. You don't have to go there. The results are coming to your laptop at home. You're collecting these results. Now you're trying to analyze these results. You might visualize these results and you might need to trigger something based on these results. And this is what these guys have been doing. So we have a company that has been working with IoT, and what they did is that they installed our solution next to the temperature sensor, next to the AC, and the thermostat was reading the temperature and sending real-time data to the app of ThinkSpeak. And then they started analyzing this data so that they can reduce the consumption of the data and build better analysis for the data. So I wanted to start with an application before you see what we're going to do today. At the end of today's presentation, I'm going to send you the presentation. And in my presentation, I made sure that whenever I refer to any story or any example, I put a link that is a hyperlink so that you can click on it and read the details behind it if you're interested. So today we're going to talk about the overview of IoT. What is IoT? What is ThinkSpeak? How do we relate ThinkSpeak to MATLAB and IoT? What are the examples we're going to work with? We're going to have a hands-on part where you're going to try this by yourself. And then we're going to talk about project ideas and resources so that whenever you work on a project, whenever you work on an idea, you will get to have a head start by seeing some resources. So what is IoT? The Internet of Things refers to the physical items equipped with sensors. Definitely you want to have a reading for something that is happening out there, whether it's temperature, it's humidity, it's wind speed. There are so many kinds of sensors that you want to read somewhere in this world. So you will be installing that sensor somewhere, and the technology of transferring the data from a sensor into another device somewhere else over the internet is called Internet of Things. So that you communicate with that device, you're reading from it, and you might even trigger some actions later on based on that. You might just read the data and analyze it, or you might work vice versa and send some commands to open a dam, for example, to switch on a fan, to do something to trigger an action, or maybe it can be a software action. Maybe you want to send an email if something happens. Maybe you want to post a tweet if something happens. So it doesn't have to be related to hardware only. It can be a mix of hardware and software. So you're reading sensors data, you're analyzing that, and based off that, you might take an action, you might not, you might take a software action, or you might take a trigger into a hardware action. So what are the applications of IoT? Definitely smart homes are spreading right now. whenever you go to smart homes, you're going to see people working with their ACs from far away. Before I arrive to my flat, I can turn on the heater or the AC. I can turn on the TV. I can turn on the washing machine just before I reach somewhere, or I can analyze the data in my place or somewhere in my home based on IoT. I might have a temperature sensor installed somewhere, reading the data and analyzing the data, even when I'm traveling somewhere else. So smart agriculture is a very important field where people are using IoT these days. Healthcare and wearables, definitely these smartwatches that you're wearing are transferring data from your watch over the internet into the app over your phone or over Bluetooth, and then you're taking an action based on that. You might monitor your health bar. You might monitor your steps. You might monitor your target for your workout. Industrial IoT and smart cities, all these things, we are going to head to these. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia is using these tools heavily these days in the smart cities they're building. In 2 to 3 to 5 years, up to 5 years, you're going to see excellent smart cities around the kingdom, and all of them will be depending on the IoT somehow, somewhere. Now, why do we use IoT? Because of two reasons: efficiency and automation. So what we are trying to do is we're trying to increase the efficiency of things. So if you're switching the AC all the day, you don't need to do that. If you read the right data, if you switch it when the temperature is at the right time, at the right temperature, you are increasing the efficiency of using the energy. The automation in these things is that you are making things autonomous. They're working on their own. They're taking decisions on their own based on data that is being collected, and you're taking these decisions or making the device able to take these decisions or trigger actions on their own. So that's the automation part. So what we're doing that to increase the quality of life, that can affect health, that can affect business, several aspects, or for remote operations. Okay, let's get started with the ThinkSpeak itself. If someone switched their microphone, kindly just switch it off. Okay, so what is ThinkSpeak? We as a company, MathWorks, we have a software called MATLAB. You might have used that before. It's a programming language. So ThinkSpeak is an IoT platform on the cloud based on MATLAB that is used to collect data, analyze it, visualize it, and then trigger an action. All that when all your data is on the cloud. We didn't put it inside MATLAB because IoT is something that is based on transferring data over the internet. So the best place to keep it is on the cloud. But definitely you can use MATLAB to also collect data. You can use Simulink as well to collect this data or to trigger an action with ThinkSpeak. And we're going to talk about that today. So in IoT with ThinkSpeak, there is a workflow that we're working on. We will be collecting some data. So we have a sensor in US, let's say, and we are in Saudi. We're collecting some data from that sensor, and this is what we're actually going to do today. We're going to collect some data where we analyze a temperature, wind direction, wind speed, collect that data, and then we're going to analyze that data. And when we talk about analyzation of the data, you might just take the data and just put it on a graph to see how's the trend going. Or you might do some operations to that data. Maybe you want to collect the data and see the mean value. You want to see the average value over every 5 minutes. Maybe you want to see the correlation between your data, different types of data. So when we talk about analyzation, it's a MATLAB-based platform. So whenever you collect data, you write a MATLAB code that analyzes that data in MATLAB. And when we say you analyze data in MATLAB, that opens the spectrum of the things that you can do into the unlimited amount of things that you can think of. You might even take that data and do some machine learning algorithm where you can learn from the previous patterns and start predicting the future patterns. Let's say that you have a reading of the temperature in somewhere for the past 5 years. Now you can start predicting the temperature in the next year. Based on the past 5 years, you're going to get something close to the expected value that we're going to see. Now, another thing is ACT. So we collected the data, we analyzed the data either by writing a code to change that data into average, mean, machine learning, etc. Or we might have plotted the data, or we might take an action based on that. And the action can be one of many things. It can be a software action, as we said. You can post a tweet, you can send an email, you can send something to Google Assistant, or you might even trigger a hardware. Let's say that you have, in a simple manner, you can have an Arduino connected to a sensor, connected to a motor. You are out of your house. This Arduino is connected to IoT, ThinkSpeak. It's sending data. You are in the US, your sensor is in the kingdom, and then you decided that you want to write a code that whenever your sensor reads that the humidity of the soil is low, you want your pump to start watering the plants at your home. So you can do that by setting a trigger or by triggering it manually through this platform. This is what we're going to talk about today. So whenever you look at the platform, you as a user, this is what you're going to see. You're going to see nice screens, nice graphs, maps, images, videos, things like that that are easy to use for the user. And the web service for the device will be seeing some codes that are analyzing this data. So this data is not just collected easily. There is a code behind it, and you can see that code and you can analyze that code or edit that code. And we're going to talk about that today. You might see some words like channel, channel ID, field, field 1, field 2, etc. We're going to talk about that in a minute. So we have spoken about ThinkSpeak in general. What is ThinkSpeak in general? Now we're going to run into some examples so that you can see how ThinkSpeak works natively using MATLAB. I'm going to jump this slide into this one so that I can just highlight the main points we're going to use today. So whenever we say a channel, that means that you have a device or you have a channel. We call it a channel. It could be a device. Think of it as an Arduino. This is Arduino number 1. So the channel number, the channel ID, is a unique number for the channel that you have. So whenever you name your channel, whenever you give it a name, that name could not be unique. So you might name it Mohammed's channel, and someone else might name it Mohammed's channel. But when it comes to the channel ID is a unique number assigned to your channel. So whenever you create a channel, ThinkSpeak will automatically create a channel ID that is unique for you. No one will be having a similar channel ID, and you will be able to see that. We have things like the API keys, and we have a write API key and a read API key. So think of it as the password for writing content or sending information or reading information. So it's the API key that allows you to read or write. Think of it as the password that allows you to read or write. We're going to work today with two types of channels, public channel and a private channel. From its name, the public channel allows everyone to read your data, to read your channel, to see your graphs, or to see your codes. While the private channel, your channel will not be seen by anyone, and it will be just shared with you and the people you assign to. You might assign it to some email, and these emails will be able to see your channels only. So by default, when we create a channel today, it's going to be created as a private channel. Remember that, because whenever we create a channel on ThinkSpeak, it automatically considers that a private channel unless you change it into a public channel. The apps are add-on functionalities to ThinkSpeak to take an action, such as sending a tweet, sending an email, sending something to Google, or sending something to the hardware. So the example we're going to work with today is called ThinkSpeak Air Quality Monitor channel. This channel is reading the sensors data from somewhere in the US, and it's analyzing that data and plotting the graphs so that you can analyze how much is the air pure and how much CO2 concentration is there in the air. And based on that, you're going to create an email alert that will be sent to people whenever the CO2 concentration is high in the weather, so that you can make this an automated process. So I have this example over here. I'm going to share my screen, and we are going to start together working on ThinkSpeak immediately on the channel. So what I want you to do right now, I want you all to try to open ThinkSpeak. This is the website. It's called thinkspeak.com. It's very simple, very easy, very straightforward. And I'm going to share my screen in front of you so that we can both work on it and highlight some comments on this. So the website is thinkspeak.com. I'm just gonna throw it in the chat in case someone wants to click on it in the chat. Okay, there it is. And now we're going to talk about the ThinkSpeak platform. So it's a website, as you can see. It's directly connected to your MATLAB account. So whenever you create a MATLAB account on MathWorks, so if you go to our website, mathworks.com, and if you have a MATLAB account, whether you're using it for MATLAB or for saving files on MATLAB Drive or anything, you can use the same exact account on ThinkSpeak platform. The reason it has a different website because we wanted to have something private for your data, a cloud service that is really private for your data, and it's called ThinkSpeak. Now, whenever you sign in, this is how you're going to see, this is what you're going to see. Before you sign in, it's going to ask you to sign in here. But once I signed in, you can see my account, my profile, or sign out. Okay. I'm going to give you like 20 seconds just to check on the website, just to make sure you open the website, please. Let's make this a little bit more interactive. Can you raise your hand if you open the website? Let's see how many people are actually doing this today. Great. Oh, so many hands up. Amazing. Okay. Thank you so much for this enthusiasm. Okay. So I'm going to start with this. I'm going to introduce the website. As you can see, we have so many resources, so many stories, so many examples on the website. I'll leave it to you to read it or navigate it later. What we are going to do today is that we're going to navigate how we work with this website. So definitely the first thing we're going to do is to go to our channels. Once you sign in, you're going to go into your channels, my channels. You will not be seeing these channels. I have created these channels in the past, so you will not see any channel over here. I just have them because I created them in the past. We're going to create today a new channel. You are going to create a new channel. So we're going to work on that together. But before we do that, what I want you to do is to click on the public channels. Okay, let's take a walk around the public channels that are available over there. So whenever someone goes to ThinkSpeak and they create a channel, their channel, if it's public, if they assign their channel to be public, you're going to see it listed in one of these channels over here. And as you can see, we have around 180 pages and almost 15 projects per page. So many people are creating projects on in this website. You can search the channels by their tags. So there are tags like keywords that you can search for, or you can search by user ID. If you know the user ID, let's say Mohammad 325, you can search it by the user ID, but the best thing is to search by the tags. That's why today when we create a channel, I'm going to ask you to put a proper tag for your channel. Okay. Now, you're going to see lots of channels. I want you to try to open a random channel, like just go to one of the channels and open the channel. I opened a channel. This is, to be honest, this channel, Weather Station, is created by MathWorks, okay? So this channel is being placed in the US. It's in our headquarters in Boston, in Natick. And this is a weather channel where we are broadcasting live data from the sensors being put on our headquarters in Boston. So what you're going to see over here is that someone created this channel. This is a public channel. They have put their location on the maps, so you can see where they are exactly, so that when you read the temperature, for example, from this channel, you will know the exact longitude and latitude from the channel. So you can actually identify the place where this data is being collected. Okay, now let's see what this guy is showing us. So we are seeing some data over here, and I can read over here wind speed miles per hour. So this guy is reading the wind speed continuously. This guy is reading the humidity continuously. This guy is reading the temperature in Fahrenheit continuously. And then we are seeing over here the rain. There is no rain in the past few hours. We're reading the pressure as well. So this is the amount of the pressure being measured. We're reading also the power level in volts from this weather station. And we're reading the light intensity coming into this weather station. So that can tell you how cloudy is the weather, or is it day or night? Things like that can be measured by this type of sensor. Okay, so what I want you to understand is that when someone created this page, this weather station page, the kind of data that they have put is connected to a physical sensor. There is a physical sensor there. It's sending data. It's being put on the website over here. Now, the way they want to plot these things can be customized. They can plot it as an XY or YX. They can plot it over a range of few hours or few days or few weeks. You decide how you want to put your data over here. Now, one thing you need to understand is that this is a channel, okay? It's called weather station channel. So the name of the channel is not something unique. You can create another channel and call it weather station with the same syntax over here. No one will mind that. But the thing that you need to understand is that the channel ID is the unique thing. So whenever you create a channel, this number being shown over here is going to be unique to your channel. So no one can create two channels with the same channel ID. The access is public, of course. We found it on the public channels, okay? Inside the channels, you're going to read something called fields, okay? There is field 1, field 2, field 3, field 4. So I want you to think of this as the following. Assume that someone has a controller that is connected to the internet, such as an Arduino or Raspberry Pi or something else. This controller is the channel. This is your channel. It's the controller board that is connected to the internet. Now, this controller board is connected to many sensors. It can be connected to up to 8 sensors at a time at ThinkSpeak, okay? So the sensor, we call it a field. So the channel, call it weather station channel. Let's think of it as the Arduino connected to that. But then you have up to 8 fields, which is up to 8 readings coming physically from sensors over there. Now, we are plotting the readings from the sensor over here directly, but we can also create new plots based on a relation between, let's say, humidity and temperature. Maybe someone wants to plot the multiplication of humidity and temperature. So that is not a new field. That is a new plot, but it's not a new field. The field is the data coming directly and being plotted directly. However, whenever you want to plot something new, you can put as many plots as you want over here and customize them the way you like. You might even put more images, you might put more videos, you might put the location that you're connected to. Now, whenever you create a channel, I'm just showing you an example because today you are going to create a channel. So I'm showing you a good practice so that we can obey that later on. Whenever you create a channel, it's really good to put the right syntax of keywords over here. So they have put weather, they have put MathWorks, they have put MathWorks weather station. Maybe you want to add some things like humidity, wind, rain, light intensity, things that are related to the things that you are measuring in your channel. Now, this channel is collecting data, right? So you can export this data. You can take this data and download it so that you can analyze it with MATLAB or any other software, or just plot it in Excel and see the data in a different way somewhere else. So as you can see, they are utilizing 8 fields, and all the 8 fields, you can see the data and download it as XML, CSV, or JSON. And this data is up to date. So you can download it from the day it was created till now. So let's give it an example. If I click on this CSV, I am going to see the data on Excel. And this is my Excel downloaded data. you can see these fields. You can see when is this data created and what is the entry ID, and you're going to also see the field value. So this is the number of the entry, just call it a timestamp, and this is the value of the field being measured. So this is field 1. It says here field 1. If I go back to my ThinkSpeak, I can tell that field 1 is the wind direction. Okay, so you can take data from people sharing that data and analyze that data for your own research project or whatever you want. You can also put more information as an external website. So you can add an external website and put your information over here so that people will know what you have been doing. So maybe you want to refer people to your website, to your GitHub, to your university website. So these are things that you can put over here to direct people into the things that you are doing over here. So far, what I have done is that I navigated a public channel that someone has created. You might go into so many public channels, you will find so many public channels over here, and you can analyze them or see what people are doing and how they're doing it. Now, what I'm going to do over here, I like this channel, so I'm going to click watch. When I click watch, it's like I'm clicking, making this channel as a favorite, okay? Just like any application or social media, you are putting this in the save list. Whenever you go back to your channels, you close your website, you go to your work, you come back tomorrow, you will find the watch channels, and you will find here the favorite channels that you have selected to watch, okay? So just consider it another word for favorite, okay? So these watched channels are the ones that I have clicked on and made them on the top right side. I clicked watch. So now I can watch them, I can monitor them and see them later on. Okay. So far, any question on just the whole concept of having a channel? We didn't create a channel yet. Now we're going to create a channel. Do you have any question? Please open your microphone, ask your question if you have anything. Okay. Great. Meanwhile, while I'm working, please do not hesitate to open your microphone, stop me and ask a question at any point of time. I'm going to continue working. We're going to work together. Please try to do this with me. I am going to work a bit slowly on this so that you can actually catch up and try to do this. You are going to go into this channel. So I saved many channels, okay? I'm going to keep one of them open in a different tab. Let me keep it open over here. I'll close any unnecessary tabs for now so that we don't get distracted. So this is the channel I liked. I'm going to go back into this page. I'm going to go into my channels, okay? So what I have right now is 2 tabs. I want to see a tab where I am working on my channel, and I want to see another tab where I am monitoring another channel somewhere else in the world, okay? Now, I am going to create a new channel, and I will call it today KFU trial channel, okay? Let's just give it any name. You're going to put a description to this name. So I'm going to give it a description of I am creating this channel as a demonstration to ThinkSpeak. So you put a descriptive description for your people, for the people to see whenever you have a public channel or whenever you have a proper channel for your project, for your research. Now, it's going to ask me how many fields do I want to activate. So it's like it's asking me how many sensors are you connecting? 1, 2, 3, 4. These things can be customized later on. Even if you don't get it right from the first time, you can customize it or edit it later. So there are more information that you can put over here. You can put a link to an external website, as we said, tags, let's say, for example, weather, humidity, let's say temperature, let's say KSA, maybe you want to say a city in KSA, okay? Let's say Riyadh, for example, okay? Maybe you want your people to know that this channel has been created in this city, for example, just as an example. Now, these information can be helpful for people. So if you show the channel location and then you insert your location. Let's say that you are located at this address, latitude and longitude. I just put random value. We're going to see where this is, but it's really good to show people where you are working, get the exact coordinates from Google Maps and put them over here so that people can benefit from the kind of data that you're sharing. You can put a video or not. Maybe you have a video on YouTube or Vimeo and you want to link it to your channel. You can put it in your channel and let's save the progress. Okay. So right now, as you can see, it immediately took me to the private view. And what you can see over here is that I created a channel. The channel has a unique ID. The channel name is shown over here. It is private so far, okay? Because automatically when I create a channel, it's being created as a private channel. Now, the channel can be changed into a public channel later on, but let's keep that for later. Let's just focus on what we're going to do. Now, I have put, by the way, a very random address. Let's see where this is. Oh, it happened to be in Libya, for example. I just threw two numbers and it happened to be over there. But you can get the exact location and put it in your address. Now, notice that you can put a fake address. This is something that depends on you. Do you want to put a real address, a fake address, or maybe you want to tell people, okay, I collected this data in the past and I collected it from Italy, for example. So you put an address that is not currently your exact address. Okay, now, when we want to add visualizations, we want to add like insights to our channel. These insights have to be brought from a sensor, right? Currently, you and I don't have any sensors in hand. What we can do is that we can get the data from someone's channel. Okay, I will get the data from this guy's channel and analyze the data from this guy's channel because he had an open access to his channel. This means he has an open access to his sensors. And in the same manner, if you have sensors, you will be able to connect to them. And I'm going to show you how to connect to your sensors once you have physical sensors in place. But as an example, for now, I'm going to copy his channel ID and I'm going to go into my channel. I'm going to create a MATLAB visualization for now, okay? And I'm going to, whenever you create any new visualization, it will ask you for two things. Do you want to start from scratch, like no code, you will write the whole thing from scratch, or do you want to start with a template, like a 2D plot with y-axis on both sides, correlated data plot? You will find lots of templates over here so that you don't have to create something from scratch, okay? I am going to go and create a 2D line plot just to save time writing that code. Whenever you hit create, this is what you're going to see. The screen will open. Now you have a graph, okay? And that graph has a MATLAB code behind it. And this is the MATLAB code that is behind that graph. So let's say that I want to monitor monitoring humidity, okay? I am monitoring humidity. This code has been written over here, and it just wants me to fill some values like the channel ID. So I want to fill the channel ID over here. What is this channel ID? It's the channel ID of the guy that is sharing his data publicly. I want to put the field ID. Now, we know that this guy, when we went over here, we know that this guy has 8 sensors, okay? Where is the humidity? It's field number 3. So if I go back over here and replace this field ID with field number 3, it's going to read the humidity sensor immediately. I don't have to tell it to read the humidity sensor. It just recognizes it as sensor number 3. Sorry. Okay, now the read API key is very important when the channel is private. If you are reading from a private channel, the guy that is giving you access to their private channel have to give you the read API key. So for example, I have created the channels in the past, as you can see on the right side over here. I created a channel in Egypt. I was in Egypt a few months ago, and we created a channel together. So I have my read API and my write API for this specific channel. If I want to give access to someone to read from this channel, I have to share these codes with them so that they can actually read data from my channel or write data to my channel. Okay. If the channel is public, you can leave the read API key empty because you don't need a password to read from someone's channel. Okay. Now, let's just take a look at the code. As you can see, most of it is green, so it's telling you what the code is doing. These are comments. The only codes have been identified in the channel is that I identified a variable called read channel ID and the field ID, which is 3, and then read API key. If your channel is private, then you need to put the API key over here, or you can leave it empty if it's public. Now I am collecting data and time through the command called think-speak-read. There is a command called think-speak-read. What it's doing is that it's going to this specific channel, it's reading this specific field, and it's reading a certain number of points, and it's using this read API key if it's necessary. Now, the next thing it's doing is that it's using a very simple plot function to plot the time and the data that have been collected. I'm going to hit save and run. And look what I am going to get. It's just like the MATLAB platform that you have. Okay, you're writing a MATLAB code. You can even plot in 3D. You can even plot things that are different. So what I have over here is that I have plotted the data coming from that sensor for the past 30 minutes. Okay, you can see here it's 7:40 until 7:10. So I have plotted the data that is coming from the sensor for the past 30 minutes only. Now, how do I change that? We have here the number of points being collected. So I have plotted the last 30 points that have been collected. What if I change that into 3,000, let's say? Okay, I'm going to hit save and run. And when I run this, as you can see, it changed from hours into dates because the amount of data I am looking at right now is a wide spectrum that goes over several days instead of several hours. Okay, so even if I make this like 30,000 and hit save and run, I'm going to look at even more. Sorry, here must be a positive integer less or equal to 8,000. So this is the maximum number I can get, 8,000. But also this number of points can be changed into different kind of values. You might be looking at values between, let's say, you don't want the values between 5th of April and 11th of April. You can customize that into, let's say, March values, and then you are reading these values. So right now, what we have been doing, this is the previous error, clear output. And what I am doing right now is that I hit save and run, right? So if I go back now to my channels, and I go to the channel we just created called KFU trial channel, what I am going to see over here is a new figure over here. And that new figure is the one we created together. We wrote a MATLAB code that goes into a certain channel. It reads that data. It plots it over here. Not only that, this data will be automatically updated tomorrow. So currently it's showing the past 6 days, right? So if I come tomorrow and I check this data, what I'm going to see is the data from the 6th of April to the 12th of April. The data will be shifted by 1 day because the data is up to date. It keeps reading the data. It keeps showing me this dashboard, and I keep seeing the new data coming over here. And as I told you, you can change the location. You can add more figures the same way we added them by clicking on MATLAB visualization. So this is just for adding a figure for the data that you have been reading. Any questions? Okay. Moving on. Sorry, the agenda is packed for today, so I'm going to move on faster. The next thing I am going to do is that I'm going to click on MATLAB analysis. As we said, there is something called MATLAB visualization. There is something called MATLAB analysis. The visualization allows you to create graphs from the data that you're collecting. Maybe you want to create a graph that multiplies humidity with temperature square, let's say, for any reason, and plot it. You can customize the kind of figures that you're plotting, and they are real-time figures coming over here. In MATLAB analysis, what you want to do is not just only to plot something. You might want to do some calculations. You might want to calculate average. You might want to do some machine learning algorithm. You want to train your system on specific old data and start predicting some forecasting data. So what you will be doing is that you will be using the same think, speak, read command to collect that data. You will put it into a machine learning algorithm, let's say supervised learning, where you tell this data that this data corresponds to that output. And then you will ask your data to predict, you will ask MATLAB to predict for you future data based on the old data that you have collected. Maybe you want to collect data in a specific temperature and then change the temperature. Maybe you want to calculate the high and low temperatures and just show what is the highest and lowest temperatures being measured over the day. So we have some templates for you over here, but the sky is the limit. Literally, you have a coding platform. You can do anything to the data that you are collecting. As long as you know how to program with MATLAB, all the commands still valid over here. Most of the toolboxes will work over here. It's connected to your MATLAB account, so you don't need to worry about a thing, okay? So you will have a MATLAB screen open for you whenever you create any of these examples or you create Scratch example. You have a MATLAB screen code. You are reading from values from your Arduino or from your sensor, and then you are processing these values right away in MATLAB over here. By the way, once you are fluent with this platform, once you are fluent in using this platform, and the only command you're using over here somehow is think, speak, read, and think, speak, write. That's the only command that is different from the regular MATLAB that you know. Think, speak, read, and think, speak, write. Once you know how to apply these can be applied inside the MATLAB software directly, or it can be applied inside Simulink as well, so that you can build a model-based design system. You can read the data, analyze it, and then send an output somewhere else to think, speak, to the sensor somewhere else in the world. Okay, so I have save and run. And as you can notice over here in this code, I am not plotting anything. I just want to understand what is the highest temperature, what is the lowest temperature being measured over a certain spectrum of data that I have been measuring. So in the past 24 hours, the maximum temperature was this, the minimum temperature was this. And by the way, the sensor is there and it's running on real time. So this data is valid and real for the past 24 hours from now. So right now, what we covered is how you create your channel, how you create your private channel, how you create your sensors values and read them over here.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, please go ahead.
I have a question now. What I saw that the ID for the channel ID was saved from the previous graph to this graph. So could I change one graph could be a data from a channel and another data from another channel?
Yes, yes, of course. You might create here data from channel from Abdurrahman and then another graph next to it from a channel from Abdullah. So it doesn't have to be from the same channel.
Okay,
which means, Abdussalam, it means that you can install multiple sensors in multiple places, not connected to the same Arduino, let's say, and put them in multiple places around the kingdom. Let's say you want to put one in each city, and then you want to read the data in one dashboard. So that is applicable. You can do that. Now, what is the limit? You might ask me, what is the limit? I'm going to show you here what is the limit. Now, you as an academic or as a student, so let's say here, these are the type of licenses that we have, okay? I'm not here to sell this platform because you already have access to the free version. And I believe that the free version is enough for you for now, unless you have a very, very sophisticated research problem that you're working on. Because with the free subscription, you have access to 3 million messages per year. Okay, that is around 8,200 messages per day that you can send from a sensor into your ThinkSpeak platform. You can send a message every 15 seconds in the free version. You can have up to 4 channels. That means each channel has 8 sensors, so you can have up to 32 sensors at a time connected to your account. That is more than enough. I don't think someone will need more than 32 sensors for a student project or a research project. These are the things, the limitations, I would say, to your kind of subscription right now. Okay. Thank you for your question. It's very important. Let me move on. I want to show you my channel. I'm going to go back to my channel, the one I created. And I'm going to show you the difference over here. If you see next to my channels, you might see some channels with an open lock, some channels with a closed lock. And that is the difference between the public channels and the private channels. My channel is still private. That means that no one can access my channel unless I give them access to it. How do I change that? From sharing, you can keep your channel private. You can keep your channel public when you share it with everyone, or you might make it semi-private by sharing it with specific email addresses. Maybe you are a group of students, 3 or 4, working on a specific project. You want to share the channel only with 3 people. You can do that and add them over here. Okay, so I'm going to make my channel public, and I'm going to show you something. When I turn my channel into a public channel, now I will get to have 2 things. I will have something called a public view and something called a private view. The public view is what people will see if they go to your channel. You can still have some privacy and customize your private view to be different than your public view. So maybe you created something, or you're working on a draft code that you don't want people to see. You can keep it in your private channel, but keep the public channel with the verified things that you have already finished and you are sure about and you want to share with the people. Okay, so this is the nice thing about the public and private channels. You can make different things between the public and private channels. The API keys are all here. So these are your read and write API keys for this channel. You might change this API key at any point of time. Let's say that you shared this API key with some people before, and for any reason you don't want them to have access anymore to your channel, you can change the API key and they will no longer have access to your channel or your data. You can import or export data to your channel. So let's say that you install the sensor today and you are measuring temperature today, okay? But you have a record of the previous temperature for the past, let's say, 1 year. You can import the old data and then start measuring real-time data from now. Or you might be able to export as well. So you did measure some data. You can download and export this data from the specific time zone. So the time zone is just for the timestamp, so that when you print your values, they will be associated to this time value at this time. Anything else I want to say over here? Channel settings. These are the things that we have put at the beginning. So I'm just highlighting that these are customized things. It can be customized later on. Let's say you want to change your channel name. It can be changed at any point of time. You want to add a new description. You want to add more sensors. You want to change the location. Let's say, I don't want this location. I want this location, let's say. And then you save whatever you changed in your channel. And now, see, for example, I changed the location. And now where am I? I am in the middle of Africa. Okay, so these are things that you can change in your system. So far, what we have covered is how you can actually read data from different channels. But how about the actual way of sending data from your sensor? You want to put a sensor somewhere and you want to send this data to your device. So I'm going to go through this quickly because I have the steps guide over here. So let's say that you have an Arduino and you want to switch a light on and off, or you might have an Arduino with a sensor that is reading a distance, and you want to send this distance signal into your ThinkSpeak. So I have here in the presentation, here is the presentation, you will find a hyperlink, and this is what you're going to see in the hyperlink when you open the hyperlink. I'm going to highlight what you can see. here we have this example, highly supported by MathWorks. You will see that you can use an Arduino MKR1000 or Arduino Uno or Arduino Mega or Leonardo with wireless connection, or you can use something else. And these are the specific steps of how to connect your hardware. So this is the output, but let me just walk you through the project. You will find the required hardware to do this. You will find the channel setting up steps. You will find the connectivity steps, how to connect your hardware. And you will see also what code to put inside the Arduino so that it will regularly just send the API key and send the data to the API key that you have. So in the Arduino code, as you can see over here, you have to connect it to the internet. So you will be putting your network name and network password so that the Arduino will be continuously connected to a specific internet access. And then you will identify the read and write API keys. Where do you get these? These are inside your channel over here. These are things that you keep them for yourself. They are mostly private or within the team. So whenever you put the read and write API keys, your Arduino now has access to directly send data to your channel. This code will be used to continuously read data from the sensor, send it to your channel, and now your channel is reading data from field 1, let's say, and it's reading it directly over here. So now in the code that we did over here, instead of reading from someone else's channel, you are reading from your own channel, and you will take your own channel ID, and in that way you are reading from your own channel. We have so many examples over here for things that you can read or write, whether using Arduino, whether sending an email, whether sending a tweet. The process is the same. You are reading data, you are writing a MATLAB code to analyze, to visualize the data, and then to take an action based on that data. What I want to highlight, I'm speeding up a little bit just because I don't want people to hate me because we said it's a 1-hour session. So in summary, the process is that you read, you analyze, and then you act. But what I want to say is that not only this, these are toolboxes inside MATLAB, right? You might have worked with some of these, such as the control systems toolbox or the statistics and machine learning toolbox or neural networks toolbox. These are things that you might have worked with it. But what you need to know is that when you sign in with your MathWorks account, if you have a license access, such as the KFU license access that you have right now, you will be able to work with all these toolboxes inside ThinkSpeak. Not only the simple MATLAB syntax, but also the complex toolboxes are also existing over there so that you can support your research or project with advanced stuff. I want to highlight a very nice feature that we recently introduced, and it will save you a lot of time while doing projects. Now, currently, as you might know, MATLAB is available on mobile, okay? So with the same MATLAB account, you can download MATLAB Mobile on your Android or iOS devices, and you can use MATLAB over there. You can access your MATLAB drive, and you can run your codes on your mobile. But this is not it. What I am highlighting over here is that you can use the sensors inside your mobile so that you can send it to MATLAB or to ThinkSpeak and start doing some cool stuff with your mobile. So in your mobile, in your MATLAB mobile, if you go to the sensor settings, you can see and read all the sensors that are inside your mobile. You can enable these sensors. So these are the steps from the MATLAB screen, the mobile MATLAB screen. You're going to click on sensors, and you're going to stream the data from these sensors in your mobile into your MATLAB drive or into your ThinkSpeak. Now, the thing is, you can stream it into MATLAB, or you can just stream it into your MATLAB drive as a log file where you log your data, and then you can send it to ThinkSpeak. What I want to highlight over here, what are we trying to do over here? If you focus on this image here, the sensors that you have access to, actually, if you open your mobile, you can scroll more, you're going to see more sensors that you can access. These data can be read on real time from your mobile device, and this data can be sent into the cloud, and you can analyze it with MATLAB or with ThinkSpeak, whatever you like. this is available for you. All you need to do is to log in with your account on both platforms so the data can be synchronized at the same time. Okay. So what we are doing over here is that we're collecting data from mobile. It might be just like the smartwatch. It collects data and then tells you how many steps you went today. Or you can create a cool app that will remind you that you didn't finish your target today. Or you might even look at the trends. You might create an app that identifies how much running you did today, how much walking you did today. They are two different things. You can identify criteria, how the accelerometer identifies walking and distinguish it from running or from walking up the stairs or down the stairs and so on. And then you will be sending some alerts. These alerts will be sent into hardware or into a software. You might send yourself an email. You might send yourself a tweet. These are things that you can do with it. On the ThinkSpeak itself, as I show you, there are so many public channels, right? So these public channels, they have really nice ideas, and I collected the best ideas and put them over here in this presentation so that you can click on them and it will take you directly to that channel. So I will send you this presentation and you will be able to click on these links and follow these links to see the channels being created with the cool ideas that we have over here. Okay, so that you can reference to these channels whenever you are working on a research or a project or anything. Now, how can you start with this? This is very important. People are asking me, okay, this is really nice. How can I start? I highly recommend you to use our website, use the MATLAB on-ramps. The MATLAB on-ramps are things that we highlighted today. We had a chance to speak about it today with some people who attended a bit earlier. But let me just quickly walk you through this. Currently, you as KFU students, you have access to something called MATLAB Academy. MATLAB Academy has online free courses from MATLAB based on different subjects on MATLAB, Simulink, AI, math and optimization, even image processing and signal processing. We have lots of cool courses, and these courses have a certificate at the end of the course. Okay, so but when you finish this course, there will be a certificate for finishing that course in image processing and Simulink and Simscape. I would highly recommend you to invest your time in doing these courses and taking these certificates. It's really nice. 2 hours per week are more than enough. By the end of your graduation time, you would have covered so many nice topics which could help you a lot in the future. So I would highly recommend you to start from here. Abdussalam was telling me that he wants to organize another session. I'm happy to organize another session at any point of time, but I really want you to also look at these courses, run it at your own pace whenever you want, so that you can learn MATLAB and Simulink easily from here. So I'm going to send you these presentations. I'm going to send you the links over here so that you can click on it and see these examples. The message we're trying to do over here is that MATLAB is there for you as a programming language. The ThinkSpeak is the cloud IoT platform based on MATLAB, and it's linked to MATLAB account, so you don't have to even create another account to use it. With that, with AI, you can see that the sky is the limit. You can create lots of innovation ideas. You can create a nice app, or you can even create your own company based on this and solve a problem in the future. These are some of the courses I spoke about, and I'm very sorry, we're running out of time. I am going to put the survey over here, please. And I'm going to put the link in the chat so that you can fill the survey. It's very important that everyone fills the survey because we're going to send you certificates at the end of this. But I'm going to stay online because I really want to answer your questions. Sorry, the link is small, but you can click on it. Please, the floor is open for your questions. I'm happy to stay here for 1 more hour to answer any questions.
And the link is like a photo now, not like a link.
Let me just bring another link here. Chat. Okay, you should be able to click on the link now, or you can scan the QR code shown on the screen. I have put the link in the chat. You are most welcome. Please do not hesitate to actually look at this. It's really beneficial when it comes to your senior graduation projects, for your master thesis. It's a simple tool. We are talking about tools here. This is not the science. The science is something that you will bring. The ideas is something that you will bring, but this is a tool to make your life easy whenever you are trying to create a prototype, whenever you are trying to create a product. People are actually using this to create their own products, their own companies, so that they can make life easier. As you saw, you create a channel, you put the data over there, you can visualize it, open it from your mobile, or even send your customers a regular updates on a specific trend of something. Not only that, by the way, this reminds me of something. One of the projects I have posted in the here was the COVID-19 data. The COVID-19 data is something that was coming from a website. So you can collect data not only from a sensor, but also from websites. If people gives you access to some websites with a JavaScript code that allows you to collect data from that website, you might be collecting the gold rate, for example, for today. You might be collecting the COVID number of cases of COVID per day. And then you can create your own dashboard that analyzes these numbers and give people some insights based on that. Actually, people made money out of this during the COVID time. Some people started creating their own dashboards that can predict for the next 10 days how many COVID situations are going to be there and how many are there in Italy, in Spain, in France, in Europe in general, in US in general, in Middle East in general. So you can create your customized platform dashboard with this, and it's up to date. It's a dashboard up to date, connected to the real-time data from websites, from sensors, and so on. So as I told you, the sky is the limit. It's about your innovation. The tool is there for you, and we're happy to support you on that.
Thank you very much, Engineer Mohammed. I really appreciate that presentation, and I think it was so helpful for us. I have one question about that. If I want, for example, take information from my phone, like the velocity or the acceleration or something like that, how I can take this data and put it in our Arduino? Let's assume, for example, I have a project and this project using an Arduino. So how can I take this data from my phone and put it in the Arduino?
That's a very good question. Thank you for asking that. Let me just quickly walk you through the way to do that. The first thing you're going to do is to go to your phone, activate streaming your data into MATLAB, okay? And that data will be streamed into MATLAB and it will be saved into MATLAB drive, okay? So whenever you trigger here, let's say the acceleration data and start streaming it, it will be streamed into your MATLAB live, into your MATLAB drive actually. What you are going to do is to go and put a code that will be reading that file that is in your MATLAB drive. So in MATLAB, you can import data from an Excel sheet, or you can import data from a website and so on. There will be an Excel sheet and a CSV file specifically being created in your MATLAB drive, okay? If you go to your MATLAB drive, you keep importing that data, and then you send it to ThinkSpeak, okay? So you write a code, write ThinkSpeak, you put your channel ID, and you are sending this data that is coming from your phone to ThinkSpeak. This is the first step. The second step is you are going to send it from ThinkSpeak. You will go to ThinkSpeak and activate a code that will read the data coming from your mobile and send it back to the Arduino. This is one way if you want it to be based on the cloud. So the data will be jumping from your mobile to the cloud to the Arduino. This is IoT in concept. Now, if you don't want this to be an IoT, what you can do is to send the data from the mobile into the MATLAB desktop directly. And then, because you are logging the data over here into MATLAB, so you can go now to MATLAB desktop and you will find the live data being imported to MATLAB desktop. MATLAB desktop can be connected into a cable of Arduino, and the data will be jumping from your mobile into your laptop into the Arduino directly without going to the cloud of ThinkSpeak. It will be going to the cloud of MATLAB, yes, the MATLAB drive, but it will not be a public data to be shared with people like ThinkSpeak with a dashboard. Once you
That's clear.
start
Thank you,
working
bro.
on this, I'm happy to help you, Abdussalam. So if you started working on this and got stuck, let me know. I can help you with that. We have ready-made examples to guide you to do that. Eventually, like life has got so easy, you will get an example file and then you will edit it to match your case. The thing now with ChatGPT, with the open source examples that are everywhere, the future now depends on your innovation. It's mostly you as an engineer putting systems together and being innovative in putting these systems together. The future now is not based on technical skills in a specific part only. It's mostly you as an engineer putting skills together, learning in the mechanical side, learning in the electrical side, learning in the computer side, putting all things together in the right way with the right innovative idea. Please, if you have any other questions, guys, do let me know. And please fill the form because Abdussalam needs the data. And I will be creating some certificates within the next weeks and send it to you. I would like to thank you all for joining this late. Thank you so much. I know it's Ramadan, timings are difficult sometimes, but thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very happy to see all these people around. I'm very happy to see you all benefiting from this. My email is here. Please do not hesitate to email me if you have any question. Whenever you want anything, we're happy to support you. Inshallah, I promise the professors, we are trying to organize a visit to KFU, not this academic year, inshallah, next academic year, we'll try to organize a physical event in KFU.
Inshallah, we'll be waiting that.
Inshallah.
There is a question from Hawra in the chat, if you can read it.
Check. I have a question. It's the only way to access the data of people's sensors through their channels. Currently, through the IoT platform, yes, this is the way to access the public data. Like, do you have anything else in mind? Do you have a concern or something that you don't want to access it through ThinkSpeak? Because literally, you will write a code, read ThinkSpeak, and then the channel number and the field number. And in this way, you are reading the data directly. But the thing is, why are we doing this? We're putting the data on the cloud so that even if the sensor gets disconnected, the history of the sensor will be still on the cloud itself. Yes, Tamer, I will share the PowerPoint presentation with everyone so that you can click on the links that are there. I know that there are so many links that you didn't get the chance to see. I will send it to everyone so that you can click on these links, inshallah. I know that this was a very quick brief. Please take your time to try this and ask me later on questions. Even if you don't have the questions in head now, like just please ask me later on if you have any question. I will stop the recording now. People are asking to share